without going through the process, magiging batas ho. Madam President, hindi po usapin kung gaano katagal.
Naging tensyonado ang Senate hearing sa usapin kung ano ang committee na didinig sa panukalang batas ni Senator Risa Hontiveros.
Speaking to the majority.
Yes, Madam President, I've been talking
Naging
to
mainit
our
ang
experts
palitan
here.
ng opinyon. Tunghayan
With the ruling of the
natin
presiding
ang
officer
mga
and based on the
pangyayari.
rules, as
Pero
before,
bago ang
Madam
lahat,
President, I submit.
pasubscribe
But
naman dyan.
for the record also, I object with every ounce of my being. Madam President,
Senate reads, when a report is returned to a committee or is transmitted to another, unless it is returned for purposes of conducting further committee hearings on new matters arising after the report, all previous proceedings in connection therewith shall be deemed to be void, and that matter in question shall revert to its original status, period, Madam President. Madam President, it has to be noted that after the Committee on Women, Children, Family Relations, and Gender Equality submitted the committee report number 15, December 6, 2022, letters from concerned religious groups were sent not only to this representation, Madam President.
where's the letter from Anton?
If all this, Madam President, would not be enough, all these letters, Madam President,
Okay. Aside from emails, aside from soft
I can't
copies.
even bring it here, Madam President, because it's too many. But what I'm saying, Madam President, is that it's not only me, Madam President, not just this representation that received this letter. So there are new matters arising after the report, after the first hearing. I have been bullied, crucified by some groups who are misled of the fact that there was only one hearing with this very controversial measure, Madam President. And that is why this representation had the chance to talk to our dear colleagues here in the Senate and ask what to do and consult them, Madam President, and gave them the options available for us. Now, the options that are available for us, Madam President, is not just to remand the committee report to the original committee, Madam President. If you look at the records, and just yesterday, Madam President, we did the same thing, we referred this to the Committee on Rules. Unfortunately, Madam President, yesterday, this representation had a quite a chat, Madam President, with our Deputy Minority Leader, and I told her, Madam President, about the predicament of some of our colleagues, specifically Senator Alan Cayetano. I told Senator Alan Cayetano about the situation, and he even asked me to just wait for a bit because he wanted to come up with a holistic approach in looking into this particular measure. He wanted to come up with a better version that would not just target, Madam President, one particular sector, but all sectors of the society. Let it be put on record, Madam President, that this representation is nothing against LGBT community. I'm so close to a lot of LGBTs, Madam President. Now, if you would say, Madam President, that these groups were invited and given a chance to talk, again, Madam President, just one hearing. Just one hearing. Some of them are saying they were not consulted during the TWG. And so, again, Madam President, the aforesaid letters of the concerned stakeholders stated inter alia that they were not given the opportunity to really participate. And so, Madam President, 17, 18 members of this August chamber asked that they be given a chance to participate, that they be given a chance to be heard. And as mentioned earlier, Madam President, and we have been doing this in the Senate, as the minority leader would attest to this, we can refer this to the Committee on Rules for further study, as we have been doing in the past, Madam President.
Senator Hontiveros is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. First of all, Madam President, Section 32, in the understanding of this representation, is not applicable to the status of the committee report. Because, as the good majority leader read it, when a report is returned to a committee or is transmitted to another, unless it is returned for purposes of conducting further public hearings on new matters arising after the report, and so on. But precisely, Madam President, and the majority leader himself just mentioned, that it will be returned to my committee, to the Committee on Women, precisely to conduct further public hearings. And as the good majority leader also mentioned, on new matters. He explicitly used that terminology just now, Madam President. So Section 32 does not apply, because what applies to the situation or the status of this committee report is in fact in the negative, in the phrase of this Section 32. Although I do not hear a formal motion yet from the good majority leader, I would object that this committee report be returned to the Rules Committee because even again, yes, of course, we must, each and every one of us, always return to our rules. In the first place, it was the Rules Committee that on first reading referred the bills, 3 bills, to the Committee on Women, which in Section 13 of our rules is described as such: Women, Children, Family Relations, and Gender Equality, 9 members. All matters relating to women, the welfare and protection of children, family relations, and equality before the law of women and men. So, though the majority leader has not yet stated it as a motion, just for the record, Madam Chair, if he so does, I would object.
Kung hindi na po natin igagalang yung Rules Committee, para saan pa yung majority leader natin as the head of the Rules Committee. Yung Section 34 din po, Madam President, the motion for the study of any report submitted by the Committee on Rules shall always be in order. And while the report is pending consideration, no motion may be entertained unless it is a motion to adjourn. If this latter motion is disapproved, no dilatory motion on the aforesaid report shall be admitted.
I don't think Senator Hontiveros stated that it is automatically remanded to her committee. That is the reason why the presiding officer had mentioned the rule that it is within the ambit of the Committee on Rules under Your Honor that would be responsible to hear it in the Committee on Rules.
I apologize,
Madam President, if I may interject
if it
at this
appears
point.
like that, Madam President, I apologize. Is that attributed to this representation?
I was
Madam
speaking to the
President?
majority
Yes,
leader.
Madam President, I have been talking to our experts here on the rules with the minority leader. Madam President, I cannot speak on behalf of the entire Rules Committee, Madam President. Whatever will be the decision of the Rules Committee, I would have to respect it, Madam President. And that's the main reason why I couldn't do anything about it, because I am still in coordination with some of the members, particularly Senator Alan Cayetano.
If any colleague wishes to present what he believes is a more comprehensive approach to a bill or to bills, in this case 3 bills, Madam President, if he wishes to improve it, make it a better bill, then he was welcome to do so in the hearing, and he will be welcome again to do it in the next hearing.
First, Madam President, the letter signed by our distinguished colleagues was signed January 23. So kahit po marami pa yung signed before January 23 dun sa committee report, it doesn't matter na po, Madam President, kasi nagbabasa naman po yung ating mga kasamaan dito. Alam naman po nila yung pinipirmahan nila. So hindi yung maganda, Madam President, na ito yung maging issue, Madam President. Pangalawa, Madam President, uulitin ko po dito po sa Section 34 ng ating rules, dahil ito po ay governed by rules eh. Nakakalungkot po yung mga nambabash sa social media. Ilan lang naman po yun kasi marami ding LGBTQ na naiintindihan where we are coming from, Madam President. Pero yung iba na nang babash, akala nila walang rules. Akala po nila kung gusto ho ng isang senador o ng isang sector of our society na maging batas ang ninanais nila without going through the process, magiging batas ho. Madam President, hindi po usapin kung gaano katagal ang isang panukala para maging batas. Hindi po yun ang batayan. Ang Biblia po ay ipinapakita ng Diyos that God is a God of planning. Madam President, kaya po niyang i-create ang buong mundo, ang universe, sa isang salita. When God said, let there be light, and the light was, kaya po niyang gawin. Pero pinlano po niya eh. Pinakita niya po yung kahalagahan ng pagpaplano. Isang linggo po yun bago niya kinreate ang buong mundo, Madam President. So hindi naman ho siguro maganda, Madam President, na ikumpara itong panukalang batas na ito na pupunit tayo ng sanggol, Madam President. Hindi ho yun makadiyos, hindi rin po makatao, hindi rin po makatarungan na pumunit ng sanggol. Ang makatarungan po, pag-aralang mabuti kung ano, what is best for that child, Madam President. Madam President, kung tunay nating gustong sabihin na ang ipinopromote natin ay pagmamahal, siguro mag-usap po tayo. Dahil yun po yung dahilan bakit nandito tayo ngayon. Nag-uusap pa ho eh. Hindi ko kayang desisyonan yung desisyon ng lahat ng miyembro ng Senado, Madam President.
With the ruling of the presiding officer and based on our rules, as before, Madam President, I submit. But for the record also, I object with every ounce of my being. Madam President,
There is a motion to study it further in the Committee on Rules. With no objection, the motion is carried. I see the hand raised of Senator Hontiveros, but the majority has it, so it's therefore for further study in the Committee on Rules. Thank you.
Madam President, but unfortunately, Madam President, a lot has been said and done, Madam President. There are a lot of things said against this representation which are not true, Madam President. And let it be placed on record, Madam President, that we are governed by rules and not just by one person, one senator here in this August chamber. Thank you, Madam President.
We appreciate it if you click the like, share, and subscribe buttons.